Good. What do you want, an opening statement, and then, or do you want to just answer questions?
Whatever you're in the mood for.
All right, I'll give you an opening statement.
All
Boy,
right.
what a great day it is today. All right, let's go.
Larry, what was your reaction to Khalil Rogers retiring and walking away?
Yeah, I was disappointed. I mean, because he was really doing well. He had fit in with our football team, and he just felt like that it was, it was time for him to give it up. And so he walked away, and I hated it. He was well liked on our football team, and had already found a place within the team, and so I hated to see him go.
It sounded like, at least on some level, the CTE stuff, health concerns might have played some kind of role with it. Are
You know
sensing-
more than I do, then, because that's the.
From what he wrote on Facebook about it.
Oh, I don't.
Do you sense that guys are more cognizant of the science out there that's emerging in the reports, and is that something that you've had?
Oh, I think all guys are. I think they're all cognizant of it, because that's all that's out there. It's whatever agenda somebody wants to push, they'll be cognizant of it. So it's something that I think everybody's aware of, and everybody understands. This is a physical game, and there are risks, involved in this football, in the game of football.
Well, did he tell you why he was retiring, Khalil?
He did not. He did not.
Larry, you mentioned at the kickoff that one thing you wanted Brandon Harris to be able to do when he came in was to know the offense. Is he there yet, and kind of how's he worked in?
I think he's doing a good job. Is he there yet? No, he's not there yet. I mean, just knowing the fine details of everything, not just that you do it, but actually why do you do it, and why do we do it exactly this way? What are the reasons behind it? Because when you really know it inside out and backwards, you know those things, and so they just come natural for you in the game. Right now, he's having to think about every detail that's happening on the field. And so that tends to make you play a little bit slower. So eventually, you get enough reps at it to where it becomes a second nature, and you can be the guy, you can be the player that you are.
He said the playbook really wasn't as hard to grasp as maybe some footwork type stuff. Is that to be expected?
Yeah, I think so. I think, the guys can study a playbook and the playbook, the picture of it and what you're going to do and then see plays on film. But until you actually are the person doing it, you're actually the person saying it, you're the person that's going through the progression in your mind when you're on the field and actually performing, it's hard to replicate that.
How are you handling the reps between the four quarterbacks, for that matter?
Yeah, we're working, every one of them's getting the same amount of reps. I mean, we're working, we're getting 2 7-ons or Pascals at one time. We're getting, 2 teams going at one time. So we're doing 2 run-throughs, and we're doing double of everything right now. And so, they're all getting equal amount of reps.
At what point do you, in the process, will you start paring down to maybe 1 or 2 guys getting more just for game prep, I guess?
Yeah, probably when 1 or 2 guys start separating themselves. We hadn't even had a scrimmage yet, which that's coming up here pretty soon. So we just got our install in. So we did the first 5 days of install. Install's done, and now we'll scrimmage tomorrow and get a better feel for where those guys are. I mean, because until you do it live, it's hard to tell.
I guess I should have asked if you had a timeline, ideally. Obviously,
September 2nd.
Fair enough.
At other positions?
As soon as possible, though, really. I mean, I'd like to know as soon as possible, just like you guys want to know. I mean, the sooner the better, because then that guy can zero in on leading the team. Right now, they're all competing, trying to earn a job, and it's hard to really just take over the team when it's not your team yet.
What's your level of clarity in terms of the depth chart and other positions on the offense outside of the quarterback spot?
I would say that Bentley Spain is our starter at left tackle. I'm trying to think. I think Cam Dillard is probably is starting to look like he may earn that the center job. I'm trying to think all the way across. I can tell you our 2 top tight ends are going to be Fritz and Tucker. Prohl's going to be one of our starters at receiver. That's about it on offense. I don't know. Defensively, it's a little bit more established right now. It's you guys know who those guys are.
Back to Harris, but what has stood out physically for what he can do?
Oh, he can make every throw there is. The guy's got a tremendous arm, and I've really been impressed with his accuracy. you know, and it's easy to tell when he's not gonna be accurate because his feet are messed up. When his feet are messed up, then he's usually not accurate. So it's not about arm strength. He's got plenty of arm, and he can be accurate when he knows where he's going with the ball, and he can run, you know, so he's got all the tools we're looking for.
With Nathan having been here a year and two longer than the other guys and actually getting the reps as the number 2 last year, how much of an advantage does that give him at this point?
That gives him, just because he's got more experience, whether it's game experience or just more reps in the system. You know, I mean, you could say that, you know, when we're sitting in the meeting room and asking questions about why we do something or what we're gonna do here, what Nathan can, I mean, he knows it because he's had more reps.
He says that's something that he prides himself on, is knowing that everything that's in there, he can answer right away.
There's no doubt about it, and he can, sure can.
What's Nathan do really well? What's his strength?
He's very intelligent. He's got a really good feel for what we're trying to do. I think he, you know, he understands when we've got to try to pick up a first down, when we don't. I mean, you know, all the little things, the intangibles. I think he does a really good job with that. You know, he's another kid that can make the throws, and you know, he runs fine. I mean, he can move around and you know, extend plays and do the things that we want there.
Coach, you seem confident about the defense that you're going to have in place this year. And Kaysen even said himself that he feels like this will be the best defense during your regime here at North Carolina. Why do you think one of your leaders feels that way about this defense going into 2000?
Well, I think those guys have a lot of confidence because they're not relearning something. I mean, they all know it. So you know, JP and those guys have already been able to add packages, do different things. So now those guys, they got more tools in their toolbox, you know, to use during the game because they can do more things, and the guys are more comfortable with the guys around them because they've been together for a while. And so it's just natural for them now to really play at a higher level, you know, because they've been together.
We have as much turnover at the skill positions offensively, no matter who ends up starting. Is it realistic to think you can get to game 1 and have everything down cold, or do you kind of go in and say, we're going to have some bumps along the way, like the learning moments even into the season?
Well, my expectation will be that there will be no bumps. You know, that what we use in game 1, they know, and they know it very well. And there shouldn't be mistakes, you know. We'll see how that turns out, but that's my expectation level. You know, my expectation will not change for the offense because of personnel. It's going to be the same as what it has been. And so, you know, they'll either meet it, surpass it, or they won't. I mean,
Brandon struggled a bit with accuracy at times during his years at LSU. How do you think he's been so far in that regard?
I think he's done really a nice job. You know, and the only time that he ever gets into a problem is when his feet aren't right. When his feet aren't right, I mean, it's hard for any quarterback. You know, there aren't many of them that can, when their feet aren't right and they're not balanced, that can make the throws and be accurate. You know, a lot of those guys are playing at the next level.
What kind of growth?
The one we had last year.
I'm sorry. What kind of growth have you seen from Chaz and Logan now that they're in a much more competitive situation than a year ago?
I think both of them are excelling. You know, I'll be honest with you, I'm excited about all 4 guys and what they're doing at this point. You know, now as things start ramping up and we start doing more live, I mean, the install's done. It's going to be, now we're going to see who separates themselves. But I'm pleased with all 4 of them right now. You know, I think each one of them brings something to the table. I think nobody has established themselves. Nobody has separated themselves at this point. But I anticipate that happening here in the next couple of weeks.
What went into the decision to bring Deke Adams back to Chapel Hill, and what does he bring to the table as the D-line coach? Obviously, you've known him for a long time.
Yeah, I've known Deke and his family for a long time, and you know, he came with me from Southern Miss and was here for a year or 2. Well, how many? What was it? 1 or 2 was a year? 1 year. And you know, then he left and got some more experience somewhere else. And then when we had an opening, you know, it was natural for me to see if he would be willing to come back here and wanted to get back involved in Carolina. And so it was a no-brainer for me, you know, and I was excited, you know, at the time, because at the time, you know, Gene and JP and all those guys were the ones that really did the interviewing of all the defensive line coaches that we brought in. And he was one of them, and he was the one that they liked the most and felt fit our team the best, and so we were happy to have him back.
And what do you think about the D-line group he's inheriting here in his first year?
Yeah, I think, he can probably tell you better, but he's got some guys that are a little bit more experienced. They're still young, but they've got experience and they're talented, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what Deke is able to get out of these guys.
At running back, one of your youngest groups, what have you seen out of them in the last 6 days? What are you excited about? What's the potential there with the running backs?
Yeah, I'm excited about the potential that's there. You got 2 days and everybody's in shorts and so, they're running around out there in shorts and T-shirts and a helmet and nobody's getting hit, and so everybody looks pretty. And then you put some pads on and you start finding out who'll grind out the yards, who'll stick it in there when they need to. But I think, we've got some talented guys there. I think they're all learning. The biggest learning curve for those guys is protection. That's always, are you going to be able to pick up a 240-pound linebacker that's blitzing, or when they start twisting and doing all the things, you got to be able to handle those things. If you can't do those things, all of them can run with the ball. They can all run with the ball, but it's can they handle processing quickly, being in the type of offense that we're in and being able to pick up protections.
How did y'all get involved with Brandon Harris? Did you guys contact him first, or did he reach out to your staff?
No, we didn't. He reached out to us, or his people reached out to us, that's the way it is with all your graduate students. There is no, there's no website out there that guys post, hey, I'm looking to transfer, so here I am, come get me. There's nothing out there like that, so there's no free agent market or list or anything that anybody knows about, so they, basically they have to contact you.
What was it about Stanton Trillick in that process that kind of piqued your interest?
First of all, Stanton was a guy that we recruited pretty heavily out of high school. We recruited him hard until he decided to go somewhere else. And so we knew what his skill set was and what he was able to do. We knew that he fit in with us academically. He fit our profile, everything. And so, he to us, plus he has 2 years left. He was a guy that can come in and help us for 2 years. So that was a big part of it.
I think it was about this time last year when Cole Holcomb, you put him on scholarship. Did you ever imagine he'd end up being your leading tackler right away? And how do you think that played out?
Going into the season, we had a pretty good feel that Cole was going to be something pretty special. Because he's 6'2", 225, 230 pounds. Pound for pound, he's the strongest guy on our football team. And he's going to run 4.5 every time he runs. He can really run, and he's smart. You can ask ex-coached a lot of really good linebackers. They're still playing, and he's really excited about Cole Holcomb and what Cole brings to the table.
Who are some guys who could return punts and kickoffs for y'all this season?
Yeah, the guys that we're working with right now that are back there. Daz Newsome is a guy. MJ Stewart, KJ Sales, Prohl, obviously. Let's see who else. That's a lot of guys for me to think of. Yeah, Ratliff's back there. Michael Carter's back there. We're looking at a lot of guys back there right now because it's still early. We'll pare it down probably to about 5 guys on kickoff return, as we get going, and we'll probably pare it down to about 3 guys on punt return once we get closer to that. So right now we're trying to get a look at a lot of them, and they spend a lot of time, practice. Before practice starts, there'll be about 5 or 6 guys catching punts for about 5 minutes before practice starts, just one punt after another off the jugs. And so, I get a chance to watch how they secure the catch.
Have you guys taken a look at Daz on the other side of the ball yet?
On
defense?
Side?
Defense?
No, we haven't. No, we just installed the offense. So, and again, we won't do that until he's really comfortable with what he's doing offensively.
Larry, next week you have to take some time away, go to the hearing. How does that impact scheduling for you guys, and generally do you have a reaction?
Well, I'm not going to change our schedule. I'm not going to change what we're doing. And the schedule that I do for the team was set back in May, for when we do. We fall camp. I set that back in April and May for camp. Start thinking and planning back then for what we're going to do in August. And then try to get all of our practices and all of our scripts and everything done before we ever go on vacation in the summer. And so I'm not gonna change that. I mean, it was fortunate that I had already planned that the guys were gonna be off on the 16th, so it just, happened that way. And, we have practice on the 17th, and we're not gonna change that. Whether I'm here or not, I think, the staff will handle it, and they'll do a great job with it.
What's your understanding of your purpose in being there?
I'm there for support, really. I mean, there's nothing that I can, add to what happened before I ever got here, but I'm there for support. I think, me being there is important for, not only the NCAA, but for the university. It shows that compliance is important to me in our program.
Did that invitation come as a surprise, or is it something you knew was a possibility?
Oh, I knew it was a possibility. I mean, you can look at every case across the country, and whoever's in charge of football, whoever's in charge of basketball, they're always there. So, I had a feeling. I was hoping it would, but it's just the way it happened.
Just a couple more.
Noticed that Kane Roberts has moved to running back.
Yep.
What was the decision there? What went into that?
Yeah, Kane is, he's a very talented young man. I mean, he when we found Kane, I mean, when you looked at the film, I mean, he would be one snap at defensive end, next snap he was at quarterback, next snap he was at linebacker, next snap he was at wide receiver, next snap he was at tailback, next snap he was at free safety. I mean, he was just all punt, return, punts, punting, kicking off, kickoff return. I mean, he was doing it all. So a very talented athlete. And so we decided, didn't think that he was going to break into the 2 deep at linebacker right now with the depth that we had there and the youth that we had there. So we decided to move him over to the offensive side, see what he can do in the backfield, and see how quickly he can pick it up and see if he can help us. Because he's a guy that can run and can hit, so he will probably definitely be a factor with our special teams.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you all.